Trading the foreign exchange market carries high risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Trading on margin, utilizing leverage can carry an even higher level of risk that can lead to a complete loss of investment funds. So before deciding to trade the foreign exchange market or using any of our software alert products, you should carefully and diligently consider your personal investment objectives, level of experience, and risk tolerance. There is a possibility that you could potentially sustain significant loss. You should not invest any capital or trade that you cannot afford to lose. It is your responsibility to be aware of and understand all risks associated with foreign exchange trading and to seek professional advice from an independent certified financial advisor if you have any doubts. Auvoria Prime does not exercise trading authority over your trades. You and you alone exercise discretionary trading authority over every trade.
Today is June 28th. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go to find another one here. I'm not looking at what I'm seeing here. Oh my goodness. Let's go to the Forex Factory here. Forex Factory Monday, June 28th. Doesn't look like there's a lot of news. It looks pretty quiet today. Nothing at all. No red folders at all today, or looks like tomorrow. A couple orange folders of tomorrow. We'll take a look at that. Right now, it looks pretty quiet for most of the week this week. We are coming into a holiday weekend here in the U.S., so we'll keep that all in mind. I would not expect that we are at the end of the month. We are at the last week, the last 4 days of the month, so we may get some volatility. Pretty much probably Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we may get some volatility. But right now, everything looks pretty quiet. We'll check our charts to see what's strong and what's not. Right now, looking to see that the U.S. dollar is the strongest on all 4 time frames. So we're using that as a guide today. Like I said, we use the Auvoria Prime or the arrow for alerts, but we use this chart to see what's strong and what's not. I can see our two stronger, use the US dollar and the euro. It looks like it's strong on the 30-minute. This keeps jumping around a little bit here. So look, the US and euro are strong, yen is strong. Aussie and New Zealand and Swiss franc are the weak ones. So we're going to keep that in mind as we look through the charts to see what we can find. Let's see what's next here. Let's go to the charts and see what we have here. See if we have any alerts on. We got some 1 minute alerts. I'd prefer to be looking at my alerts off the 5 and 15 minute. We said that the yen was strong to the Aussie, so let's take a look at this. And so we have right now have a nice little range right in here. Is consolidating right in you can see right now the price is pretty much in the middle between this pivot high and this pivot low. And see what the range of this is from here to here. That's only 23 pips. Again, like I said, when I see the range that we're trying to trade inside, we're looking at pretty much trying to find a 50 pip or more range. That gives us a little bit bigger range for our target. Because right now, if you look and see where this has been ranging overnight, it's only been ranging 10 pips over about the last, probably about the last 31 bars. So that's about the last 2 hours. Let's see, 5 minute chart, about 6 hours, about the last. Let's see here. Yeah, about the last 3 hours, it's been only ranging about 10 pips. So again, it's not enough volatility to take any trades with that one. So we're going to pass on that. And let's see, we'll check out, see anything else we have. Nope, nothing there. We have nothing much on here. Let's see if we have any higher time frames we could be looking at.
You could look at the Aussie US and the Kiwi US if you're not using alerts.
Okay, all right, let's take a look at that.
Truly momentum. And good morning, everybody.
Aussie US and Kiwi US. Aussie USD. Let's take a look at 15-minute chart on that. Bring this thing up and see. We have on the 15-minute chart, we're pretty much at we had the overnight. It's at an overnight high, and it's also at a new high for the last Friday.
You're on the Aussie Kiwi. You're showing Aussie Kiwi.
I got the wrong one.
Yeah,
I got the wrong
wrong
one.
one.
Thank you.
No worries.
Aussie US, you said.
Yeah, Aussie US or Kiwi US.
Here we go. Let's try this one. Aussie US. Let's try that one. That's looks like it is. We have this nice big green zone here. See what the range is on this right now between the Friday's high, which is over here, and the overnight low, which is over here. That's a 49. That's about a 50 pip range. We're right at the very bottom of that range. So I'm gonna go to the next higher time frame just to see what we have. So we have this pretty strong green zone. This you can see it's been hit here several times. Came back out, came back in, hit the zone, came back out. Now it's hitting the zone again. Now it's either going to break through or it's going to bounce again. I'd like to see what's on the other side of this green zone. So I'm going to keep on going to a higher time frame until I can find something that tells me what's happening here. And we have, so we can see if it breaks through this zone, if we come over and look, we have these few little pivots over here. Once it breaks through this area, we're looking at this area right down here for a target. So what I'm going to do is put the moving averages up and see what kind of see what we have for our moving averages.
And Kiwi looks similar. It's just got a little bit of different picture look. I'm waiting for a retracement back up and then taking it short again.
Okay. So what I'm going to be looking at right now is I'm going to be looking at seeing what our ranges are. It's going to have to get through this. Before I want to take this thing short, I want to see it get through this green zone. Now we'll see how strong this green zone is on the lower time frames. And so I'm going to insert, I'm just going to overlay this. I'm just going to redraw this little zone right in here. And I'll come down to a lower time frame. I'll come down to a 5-minute chart and see what this looks like here on this. And you can see we have several levels here. We have lots of green levels. I would be real hesitant to try and take it short through all these. Now, let's see what kind of range we have from where the price is right now to this level. That's 13 pips, 20, 27. There is some range to go through. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to be looking for right now from how I'm going to handle this one is I'm going to come to a higher time frame. I'm going to draw my Fibonacci's. And I'm going to be using, how's it look on the trading view there, Brian?
A market scope.
Yeah.
Market scope.
Well, I should talk about. I'm looking at the Fibonacci zones that we have.
Let me flip over to there. I'm looking at the Kiwi yet. Let me see what I got on the Aussie US. Again, I'm a little more aggressive. You're sitting on it broke through the 50, coming into the 38 right now. That's why I'm early in.
38.
Yeah, I'm sitting on the 38. I'm early in for a small position. Really kind of waiting to bounce back up, but I don't know if it's going to. Of course, I'm not using your arrow. The picture of the arrow looks a little bit different.
Yeah, this zone is concerned to try and get through this zone, but right now, if I'm using this pivot,
where's your RCS tool? Where's your RCS tool with Aussie US right now?
Let me go and pull that up here.
Just curious. I know we were strong earlier, but just curious over.
Let me see. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can find my RCS tool here.
There you go. Aussie US. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I need to go to my tab.
It was you were just there. You were just there.
Was that the Aussie? Was that the Aussie US?
Well, your RCS tool will show me all your pairs.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that shows me everything. So 7-2 on one of them.
Aussie's
7-2, 7-2, and 7-3. Yeah. So yeah, I'm truly going momentum on it. The Kiwi may be your better bet, but I'm in both. So.
Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the Fibonacci zones on the other chart and just see what we have on that for the zones.
We're in the middle. We're in the middle when it comes to fibs on a 5-minute chart. Well, 15-minute zones on a 5-minute chart.
Yes. Okay. Let me pull this thing up. And we're going to show you where we're going to be. I'm going to start using these trading view zones a little bit more to maybe help answer some questions and maybe make things a little bit clearer for some people. Hopefully it won't confuse people more. Okay, and we're looking at the Aussie US. Mondays are kind of slow days and we don't get too excited about taking trades on Mondays, but we are trying to do our homework and get positions taken here. Let me just take some of this stuff off of here right now.
I did on this particular pair, Aussie US, I've got everything drawn on the 15-minute, and then I keep all my drawings and drop it down to 5 so I can see my drawings on 15.
Yeah, what I'm looking at, see where my 15-minute Fibonacci zones are. You can see where actually we had a nice little, it kind of penetrated we had this little overshoot here on this one, right? Here's where the zone is. There's a 15-minute zone. There's a 15-minute zone. So what we're going to do is these are predetermined zones that the tool puts out for us. And I'm going to draw a Fibonacci range just between these two, but have a different tool.
Oh, I love how you did that.
Yeah, I have a couple of these on here, and it wasn't the one I wanted. I'll just draw it now, just try and find the right. This is basically divides it up into thirds, thirds of the, let me see if Fibonacci standards. Let's see here.
Getting all fancy and everything.
Here's my 38. Well, I'm gonna have to readjust this for us, but right now this is our this is the middle zone that we're looking at. Here's the 38.2 to 61, and you can see right now it's right in the middle of this zone. Let's see if I can find the other one.
Great lesson here too. If you'll draw a line at 75.75, when you get a chance, they'll show the group here.
There you go. This is a little bit better here. At 75.
75.75.
Right in a line.
It's right on. It's right on your. It's basically your 50% fib. But I'll show the visual why this is important, and you can see why I took it a little bit earlier.
75.
75.
Right about there.
Yep. Extend that sucker all the way back. Can you extend that left?
Oh, I can. Let me just do a different one here. Right there.
Right. So what I'm looking for is on this type of thing, why I got in early is because we had momentum on the RCS tool showing us that the US was strong across the board, weak Aussie, knowing it's going short. And then it bounced off this 75.75. Remember, 75.75 is a normal institutional type number. It just happens to also be our 50 fib line. And so as soon as it broke it, I took it. And
you see here's where it's where we had this is where we left the upper 25% range, which is right up in here. That's the upper 25. It left, it came back down. This is our move out. This is our retracement. Here's another strong move down. I wouldn't get into it right now, but if you can get a little pullback, then you can come back down as it's working its way into this lower 25% range.
I would definitely be, if I hadn't got in here and everything remains the same, I have no problem with taking a entry order at 75.75. That would be, since I got it on the momentum, as soon as it broke, I got in. I just jumped the gun, but if it happens to hit my target and it comes back up to 75.75, I'm still going to take it again. If the picture doesn't change. And of course,
right now
everything
right now on the
changes
15-minute chart. Yeah, on the 15-minute. So let's go to our, since we drew our lines, now we can go to our 5-minute or 1-minute chart. I'll make sure this thing.
On TradingView, does it sync up all your line drawing? Yeah, there you go.
It will. I just have to turn the sync on here.
I forgot how to do all that stuff.
Lock all the drawings here. The sync. Well, let's see. Let me right click and we're going to sync all the lines. There we go. That puts it all on there. And it'll automatically do that for us if we just turn it on.
I really like TradingView as far as the simplicity, and FXCM. MT4 is a little difficult. Man, I got a real manly voice this morning. Hello, everybody out there in Radio Land.
Yeah. Oh, you're funny. You normally sound like feminine.
Well,
I never noticed.
I don't sound this low. I actually sound like a man.
It's interesting. Why did this thing happen this way? I'm British Aussie. I got the Aussie US dollar. That's why this was not.
Yeah, you're the wrong pair there at the third one.
Okay, well, first off, yeah, and I don't know why that happened. Okay.
You're not in Canada, are you?
I think I am. I think I am this morning.
There you go.
Let's see here.
Canada. You wish.
Today, hey, today is supposed to be like 85 degrees. I don't want to leave. This is
Let's
going
do
to be
it
a
this
good day.
way.
Oh my gosh, it was like 100 here yesterday. I didn't
We were
even
not.
step
We were
outside.
94, but we're going to have rain. So
We had that yesterday, so you're getting ours. So it will feel like you're in Canada.
yeah,
We're looking at the U.S. What one are we looking at?
we're
again,
looking at
Brian?
the Aussie US, my friend. Aussie US.
I'm having some
Before you
technical
do the
difficulties
Q&A,
here.
Brian, when you have a moment.
What was that again?
There's a question for you
Oh.
in the Q&A from
Let me go
Daniela.
over there. Absolutely. Let me run over there and see what we got. The question is, could you, I'm hoping that means briefly explain your 75. Yeah. Yeah, not breathly. When we trade, the easiest way I can say it is banks and institutions. When I did that stuff, we never looked. I mean, I wasn't dealing with currencies, but it's across the board. It doesn't matter what asset class. But with bankers are somewhat lazy. We want simplicity. We don't want because when you have to explain to a client you bought in for $3.02, just buy it at $3. It's just a whole lot easier. Now, mathematically, when they do their orders, they may be at 302, but they're going to tell their clients 3. But natural buying, people's buying patterns, they like the easy numbers, the 00, the 25s, 25, 50, 75, the 10s, the nickels. We rarely like to buy things on pennies. And so when we broke that place at 75.75, when we drew that line across, we saw that it bounced off 1, 2, at least. Well, then you can go historically further back and see that 75.75 has been a pivot point for quite some time, all the way back a while back. And so you can see that was a key point for at least a little while. And when it finally had the momentum to break, and the RCS tool was saying that the US dollar was strong and the Aussie was weak, it was a no-brainer for me. And so the 75.75 is just a nice point. What was once demand becomes supply. So I would wait for, if you didn't get in right on the break, I would wait for it to bounce back up and clean that area again. And I have a tool very, very similar to Arrow that I've been using for 5, 6, 7 years with Al. And it confirms that 75.75 is a good area, and 75.80 is a good area. So that little zone of supply is what I'm looking at. But institutions are lazy, and they don't deal with, and the yen pairs, when we're dealing with the yen pairs, they like the zeros. It's just part of that's human nature, part of it's algorithmic, and part of it's institutional. Hopefully that answers your question.
This is our lower 25% zone right here. And we're going to clone this one up to bring it on up to the upper 25%. Up here is 0 to, and this is our middle range, our 61, 50, and 38. This is the same thing we've been doing for the last several weeks. And now we're on the 1 minute chart. We have the, and we're just going to just a chart on here. You can see where as it left the upper 25, it came back down, had a nice little, this was not a real strong pullback. This is still almost like one complete just move. But here's a little drop. Here's a little bit of a basing. Here's a drop. And we're going to be seeing if it's going to come down into this. Now we got a little blue candle here, which means this is where this next pullback is coming in.
Which is where we're at. I'm just about 2 pips from being out of this trade.
I'm just going to lock this. So right now,
is your RCS tool does not show up on this particular chart?
It will if I turn it on.
Okay, you're fine. You're fine. I'm just watching. Do I take the profit now, or do I let it ride? And looking at the candle structure, I'll let it ride.
The RCS tool is not on this chart. Let me go.
It's okay. It's okay. You're good. We can watch the candle structure and do the same thing.
Right now, here's
pull back.
Here's a 38. So it's coming out of the Here's our three zones that we usually check. Here's a 61, 50, and 38. Now we have this little pull, nice little pull here, little basing. Now from this point to, from this pivot high to, oh, come on. I got to change charts. I got to learn how to pattern it. There we go. So we only have 7 pips. So you can see between these different layers, between this zone and this zone, we have basically, there's our 7 pip zone. So I'd like to see it get back up. Before we try and look for a target down here, I'd like to see it get back up into this, in between this little area right in here, to give us the range so we can, because if it comes, it's probably going to bounce off of this. And so right now we have 62 to 58. This is only 4 pips. For me, that's just not enough to take the trade. But if we had a little stronger pullback, like for this little drop here, we have this drop and pullback. And now that's a measurable drop from here. Let's see, where's my range here? From here to here. We also say that when we start, we're in a long minute chart, when we get this long move down, come back, I want to see it come back between the 23 and the 50. Well, came waved right up at the 50. So now my target's going to be down here at the 50. You can see it's pretty much already hit that target. And then now it's looking for another little retracement. So I'm going to pull this one down a little bit further to that wick. Come on down, bring this one down to where the last wick was, which was, I'm going to use this one right there. Now, if it can pull back in between this 23 and 50 zone before it gets down into here, we'll be in great shape. I'd like to see a little bit. We did get this little pullback, right? This little wick right in here. I'm starting to try again.
There's a couple of things that you could also do as well. As he's watching on a 1 minute, you could jump to a 5 minute. There's a couple of things you can look for, what we call wick over wick. When you get a chance, Al, can you go to a 5 minute?
5 minute, here we go.
Yeah. And we talked about the 75, but he also talked about if it came up into the 38.50 area, there's another place that you could see on a 5 minute chart. It's real. I struggle a little bit more with a 1 minute seeing things, but if you, are you on a 5? You're on a 5. Squish it up just a little. Is that a word? Squish it. Go ahead. And we had a word before. Squish it up.
Squish it.
1, 2, 3, 4. It's very technical term. Squish it.
It is very technical. Yes.
Yeah. I'm getting ready to be a prophet on this, so I'm gonna try 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 candles. You see the one? You're on one candle there. 2, 3, 4.
I'm gonna take this one off. I'm gonna remove this one because there's too many lines
there. There you go. You see the 75 candle, the line that goes over. You have a small wick right where your green line is.
75 is right there.
Yeah, and your candles that cross it, your main candle that broke out of that, right above where that breakout happened. If you notice a wick over a wick.
Slowly right in here.
If you were to draw a zone all the way to the left with that wick over wick, you would also see that it touched to the left right there. That's your zone of breakout. And on the 1 minute chart, that would have been most likely a supply zone created because of the way it fell out. So that's where one entry would potentially be. If you're not comfortable with the 1 minute chart, he's just breaking it down. And you can see what he's talking about in 1 minute. Now, he could do the same thing if he squishes up again and go to your 38 area. And I'm out of the trade for a profit. So I'm now waiting to do exactly what he said to do. If I look at, squish this up a little bit more again. Yeah. If I look at, that would be the candle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back, the little base drop. If I were to draw a zone there from wick to wick, because we have a wick over wick on that one too, just take that basing candle and I push that left, you would notice the same thing. Yeah, right about there. It's close. If you look left, it's going to have the same effect back right a little further back. I think it goes further back where something just barely touched it and pulled out. Maybe that was that one right there. There it is right here.
This is it right there.
Yeah, so everything left. I mean, so that's, again, an area that was once demand, now has already broken out. It becomes an area of supply of that second entry. So when he's talking about that 1 minute chart where we breaking it down, if it can come back to the 38 area, that's what he's talking about. You can look at it on a 5 minute and see it. You can see it if you break it down to the minute characteristics of a 1 minute. So if you drop down to 1 minute, he'll be able to tell, it'll be the same thing. It's just a little different perspective of coming back into that 38.50 area.
And you see, like right now, it's starting to come back down, and it's looking to bounce off of this 23% zone. And you see that, and this is the bottom of where that 15-minute Fibonacci line that we drew. We have that's basically it's the number on a number line that the institutions will use, and this is the range that's playing right now between the red. These things will come in with three different colors on the. Let me see if I can hide all these lines here.
Let's see what the Kiwi looks like, what you're looking at as well.
Let me go to the 15-minute chart, and you'll see that these lines that we're talking about right now, put it on here, in 15 minutes. Make sure I got that. This is on the 5. And you're going to see that right now, here's the red zone, the green zone, and there's a blue zone down here. And so basically it's going to go from a blue to a red, or excuse me, from a blue to a green. These are all, these zones right here, I believe are going to be 62 pips apart on the 15-minute, right around 62 pips apart. That gives us our nice little fib range. You can see that right now between this, the 15-minute red line, which is right here, that's 15 minutes red. And the 15-minute green line, which is down here. I mean, remove this. Remove that Fibonacci. You can see that right now, each one of these, this is the green line that Brian was talking about. We're going to take that one off as
75,
well
75.
So if you can see, this is 62 pips. And you can see, if you look through, and you can see that this price has been ranging right inside these red and green lines for quite a while here. So prices, this is where it starts, you can see where it's trending. When part of the strategy that we have with Hawkeye is that we find a zone, a range where everything's going sideways inside these two ranges, but we try and find these little trends where it's higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. And we look to see when it starts trending inside this range, and these are the moves we're trying to grab in between, but we wait for it to start trending. This stuff here, like right here in this middle, this is no man's land. There's nothing you can do. There's not enough range. A lot of this was overnight ranging, but you can see that it's respecting it. Now, we did have a little bit of an overshoot, but that overshoot is also predictable, because if I go to my neck, right now, these are on 15-minute lines. If I put this over on a 5-minute line, you're going to see that there's going to be a line. I got to go all the way over here to the end here. Here's my 5-minute. Now this is my the same thing. Only it breaks these zones down into thirds. Here's my red. Well, here's a third, and a third. So this is the middle third of this range. And this is a little bit of an overshoot, but that's okay, because you're going to get those low overshoots. But that's where it kind of wicks up, fakes you out, comes back down, and then comes back into the zone again. And it's probably going to do the same thing again here. It's going to break down to the bottom. It could break down to the bottom depending on how strong this move is. But here's a lower 25% area. Here's the upper 25% up in this range. Let me clone this. And what it does, it really makes drawing these Fibonacci's a lot easier, because here's the upper 25%. Well, here's the overshoot. If I take this all the way over here, and I move the same distance up, you can see it falls right inside that upper range right there.
It's your 50% of your zone.
It's basically 50%. That's right.
That's exactly what it ends up doing. And guys, the cool thing that we're trying to show you here is that there's no chaos in here. It's pretty well predetermined. You're trading, again, human nature. You're trading now against computers, and then normal institution numbers. There's, even though you may have some ups and downs in a candle structure overall, it's pretty well predictable. That doesn't mean you're always going to be right, but
it gets you close enough to be able to take your profits without having huge stops.
right. Now, Al, as we're waiting for this one to kind of play its out, since I've already taken my profit on it, we have the Kiwi US. It's kind of in a different picture. It's now in the upper third of a zone with momentum down. And if the RCS tool is still holding strong, then the Kiwi US is going to continue down. It may be an opportunity because I see nothing in its way.
Yeah, let me take this one off here.
I'm
Let me
looking
get
at
my
a
other
15.
chart. Let me get my other. Let me get my RCS tool in here. Let's see.
As far as arrow, I don't know if there's some blockage there. I would assume the blockage would be at 70-20 and 70-10, but I don't see any. I see it on my charts. I see no real demand for quite some time. So this could be a runner for today.
So as you can see, here's our blue line. Here's our green line.
We just broke the red.
Here's our red line. We just broke the red, and just so it came. If you look at this blue line right up in here, I mean, here's our 15-minute blue. 15-minute blue, and we're going to find out where the 15-minute other blue is. It usually, oftentimes, the big moves go from the blue to the blue. Blue zone to blue zone to blue zone. And there's our bottom blue zone. And then you can see that right between.
In this case, we have a strong area of demand right at the green line, which is on my chart 69.92-ish. So
mine's at 69. Mine's at 69.83. So 69.83 is where.
And are you on a 15-minute chart with 15-minute fibs?
I think I am. I'll be able to check the.
Yeah, the green fib line is 69.83, but there's a zone right on top of it. You're right in the fact that the green fib is 69.83.
It's a red one.
But there's nothing between where we currently are and the bottom third, which is 7,000. This could very well be a 30 pip move. And I'm moving my targets now, and I'm trailing it with my stop.
Are you in this trade already?
As soon as I broke the red line on your, because again, I looked at where we were with the fib number, and I looked at your RCS tool, and I'm truly doing, I'm truly doing momentum on this thing. So I got in right at the 70.43 mark.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to I'll go to the 5-minute chart here. This one down.
I'm not seeing anything in its way if the RCS tool stays the same.
And I'm going to pull that up here. Let me get my RCS tool here. Indicator
Again,
templates.
What I'm just trying to illustrate to our group here is that alerts and things, those are odds enhancers. They're great to have, but you can actually do a lot of this by just practice and looking at history and using that momentum tool.
Now this is the same tool that we have over here. When I pull this up, this is the same tool, but what I'm doing is I'm putting this all on just the chart, and I'm just having these two pairs, the New Zealand and the dollar, as it propagates. You can see
US is 7 and the Kiwi is the weakest across the 46.
I'm gonna go with symbols only. You can put them all up at once, but you can also just do just the symbols that you're on the chart with. Give it a minute, and it'll propagate here.
This is so fun. I love this stuff.
And the US dollar is going to be the blue one. That's the blue one. The other one is the New Zealand. And you can see here's my split. On my 5-minute chart, here's my split. I've got a 7 and a 1. So this, like I said, this is the same tool as the other one, but it tells us what this is on this time frame chart. If I pull up all the other charts, well, let's see, I got to propagate that, but we'll just look at it on the 5-minute here right now. So right now, so you can see where we're in between our two. Here's our fib zones, our 15 and our 15. it's still in the upper 25% right now of the. Right now, this is still the upper 25% zone.
Mm-hmm. And it broke the red. That's why I took it.
Yeah, no, Brian liked it because it broke that red zone, and so he broke it close below, and he was in the trade. Now he's looking at all of our moving averages are in the right direction, just like we always do. We have our 5, our 13. This is our. I should take this Bollinger Band off here. I got too many things going on at one time. These are our. This is our arrow moving average, this blue one, and this is the 200. And so right now we're looking at everything's still trending in the right direction. Now I'm basically looking to see if this. Now for me, I'm going to be looking to see if this thing can break this 25%. But if I can get a strong pullback, it probably broke the blue or the red line. So now I'm going to be looking to see if. I've got my zones here. Let me go and get the upper and lower 25 and then the middle zone.
And hopefully your eyes are drawn to the 70-50. There's a wick over wick at the 70-50 mark. 70-48, somewhere in there.
Let me get this middle zone. Then we're going to redraw some of this here so we can keep things a little bit less complicated here.
It really looks good. This one looks to me and you know the fact is, guys, is that Aussie US, Kiwi US are going to act similar. So you look for the one that looks structurally the best. And this one to me looks like it has more potential downward than the Aussie did. So
now
take your 9 pips and go, with the Aussie. But this one has a potential of running a little bit. So that doesn't mean we won't have some bounces, because I expect we'll have a bounce at the 70-25. That's my expectation.
Let's see what happened to my.
Because it's a quarter.
So now here's my 1 minute chart. Now I'm on my 1 minute chart. Let's see where we at here. I go draw some of this. Let's tighten this up a little bit here so you can see where the zones are. There's a 5 minute. Here's this little wick over wick that Brian was talking about. Right in this area right here. Right at the line. It's right at the line.
Actually, it's at your 50. There's one at the 50 mark too. You got 2 of them.
Yeah, right here.
Mm-hmm. But still, either way, they're very similar. Now, for those who are watching, Al's not showing his arrow, and I'm not showing my supply and demand. We just broke through a new supply. Supply was created, it touched it, and now it's going down again. We'll see. That doesn't mean it can't come back up again.
Right now, I'm looking at this little trend right here. This is a nice strong move down, and I'm waiting for the little pullback.
Yeah, and you will have one.
See, and the pullback I'm looking for is going to be right in between this range right here.
Oh, for where to come back to? Yeah.
Once it finds its bottom, I'm going to see it pull back to the 23 to 50, and in this range, I'm going to be looking to take a short to come back down and retest not only this little zone right here, but also coming back down, looking at breaking through this 38, which is the overshoot. Depending on how far up it goes, it would tell how much my target would be down here.
I'm guessing you're going to come down to the 70-30 area-ish, and then have your bounce. It may not be big, depending on what momentum is. But 70-30 will be my first expected, then 70-25 will be my next. After that, there's really not a whole lot holding it back on the 15 or the 5 until you get down to the green line, which is a lower, which is that lower third that we don't sell into anyway. So we're getting our little bounce.
You can see our tool here is still 7 and 8, so the dollar is still strong. The dollar is the second currency of the pair, and so we have our nice little spread here. I said we like to see at least a 3-point spread. I've got a 5-point spread here, so I don't want to be taking this thing long. I just want to be waiting for the pullback to take it short again, as long as these still keep the same split area.
And so I'm looking at the same time. I'm looking at excuse me, if I'm correct, Al. The 7 is the highest number, correct?
The high, that's as high as it gets. It goes 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's the 8 major currency pairs.
And I'm not looking, if that's the case, I'm watching the 15.5 RCS tool to see what the US dollar is going to be doing. Because if it stays 7, I ain't changing.
If I put this on a 1 minute chart, you can see where these are the yellow fib lines or moving average lines I talked about. Remember I said I want to see a pullback, but I don't want the green to cross the yellow. If the green crosses the yellow, then I have to wait for it to cross back again. But right now, this is still our target zone. Still waiting for a little bit of a pullback. Now, if it pulls back all the way up here, we're probably going to get that crossover of the green and the yellow. But if not, then we could do a sell stop down here. As it pulls back, as it comes back down through, we could do a sell stop. I don't know if I can do it on this. I don't think I have this thing set up for it. Let's see if it'll, nope, I got it. This is different. I don't have the account set up on this one right now.
But you just wouldn't have on the, of course, you're not checking your other stuff. You wouldn't have as much room to get to your target if you did the sell stop, because there is a 70-30 to 70-25 area that you'd have to breach down through. You just have to make sure if you do those sell stops, you have enough room.
Yeah. And we'll just see how far back it pulls back.
Okay. So explain to me, did we just drop to 3 on the US dollar?
We did. Yes, we did.
Is that on a 1 minute chart though?
That's on 1 minute. Yeah. So if we go to a 5 minute, we'll probably still have the good spread on the 5 minute.
I'm okay with that. I was thinking
and actually, when you see that do that on a 1 minute, that tells me that it's in the retracement. And then when it flips back over again, then you're ready to take it back in. So let's watch that a little bit here. I'll actually see if I can put this on all these. All three.
You freaked me out just a bit.
This is a one. So I usually have my 1 minute over here, 5 and 15. Let's see. Good. I didn't get a chance to get my chart set up the way I would like to do for this demonstration on this today.
It's looking good to me.
Let me see if I can find the template that I'm looking for here. There's my RCS tool down below.
Just on another side note, Kylie is going off to her first job.
Oh, is she? Well, congratulations.
She is leaving here in about 5 minutes.
All right. Make sure she pays my Social Security.
Man, she's got to do something. She's got to start saving some money for my retirement home.
Yeah. Now you can see that right now. You've got the flip right now. You've got the right now New Zealand just flipped over here. This is on the 1 minute chart, which is okay because that's just signifying you got the pullback. Once this goes up, if they start spreading and then they flip back again to where you have the blue over the yellow, which is the blue is the US dollar, the yellow is the New Zealand. Right now we've got a 5-point spread here. And let me see if I can draw it on this one here as well. Let's see, 15-minute tab. There we go. Take this one off. We don't need the tab on that right now. So the 15-minute chart. This was nice. So you can just see how it's playing out on all 3 time frames at one time. New Zealand's getting strong, so that's our pullback. This is still showing our nice spread, so that tells me this is just a pullback. When it pulls back into this zone, we can take the straight short, assuming that these maintain the same spread that we're looking for. And then we have a relatively tight range of between here and here. There's our 7 pip range. We're going to use a 15 pip stop, but if it comes into this range, and I've got 15 pips up, still have lots of room to the upside. But as this thing starts to flip back around to having the blue on top, we'll know that we're just about through the end of the pullback area, and then we can take that trade short. As long as this is going up, we don't want to be taking short until we find that pivot, that area where we want to see that turnaround. And you can see that with the price action with these pivots.
See you, babe. Have a good day. Make lots of money.
And we know that this is the bottom of that 23% retracement that we talked about, the 23%. And up here's the 50. So right up in here is about the middle of this range. So I'm going to be looking at right around in this area for the turnaround, somewhere around in this little box right here. Anywhere inside this blue box is okay. I just like to see it pull back a little bit more. If it doesn't pull back more, then we can still take for a sell stop down the bottom here as it comes back down through, and then we have our target all the way down here, and then we have our target from, at this point, that's 34 to 28. And so I like to see at least a 7 pip target. There's 28, so we want to go up to about 35. It's hit up to 39. So there's a nice little, we have a range right now to take this thing short. I would like to see a little bit more, a little bit deeper, but that's okay. If it only goes this deep, and then it's got a lot more momentum, and we have a lot of momentum strength to the downside on these 15 minutes says 6 point spread, 7 point spread. On our 15-minute chart, the dollar is the strongest and the New Zealand is the weakest. I still like to see this. I'd like to see this green cross over the yellow and then enter into the trade for the sell stop. This way it keeps you a little bit out of harm's way, because if this thing just starts to trend, you can see, in this 1 minute chart, you can see where you have a little bit of a trend going in. We had a strong move down. We have these little wicks right here. So this is a little bit of a zone that's coming back up to retest that zone. We also have a little trend line coming in right down here at the bottom. But once it breaks this trend line, breaks to these wicks, then we have clear sailing all the way down lower. But you can see and this is on a 1 minute chart, so you have to keep that in mind. We have all these little wicks right here. So that's a little bit of an area where we came back down, sellers came in. Came back down a little bit, sellers came in. So this little area right in here is where the sellers came into this thing. And you can see, now I'm going to show you something that's going to be probably, if I go and put this into where we have these zones, if I put my fib on a 2 minute, I'm on a 1 minute chart right now. So I'm going to put this, the lowest one that goes is to a 2 minute. If I turn that on, you can see that right here's a red line. It came right up to that red line, wicked up. Now these lines are 7 pips apart. It came right up to that red line, rejected it. This is where my 7 pip targets come into play. Between this red line and this green line, we have 7 pips. And what this does, it really helps me having to do a lot of drawing with a lot of these other, because the lines are already just programmed in here. And we have a 6-1 spread with New Zealand being stronger, but if we go to our lower or higher time frames, we still have a 3-point spread here. We still have a 6-point spread here. Again, I'm just looking at this as just being a pullback. This one's starting to hook down.
Expected pullback, to be honest.
And now with this 1 minute chart here, it can be look at, see as it's crossing, here's our trend line, comes back down. If it closes below, comes back and retests it, then you can take this thing all the way up here. That's what you call a pass and check. Here's my red fib line. Oh, wrong one.
And what's funny is you're drawing this, and mine's sitting right inside a supply zone. It's normal. It's doing exactly what we would think it would do.
Remember, my original target zone to get into this thing was all the way up here with this bigger blue line.
70-40?
Yep, right around the 70-40 area. And here's a little midpoint in between.
It's funny how everything is exactly the same. Kiwi is now stronger than the dollar on your 1 minute.
Right, but that's, again, this is a strong pull. This is a relatively strong pullback. But again, the 23% of my range was right up in here. This line, this box right here. This is just that little wick area that I drew here. I can actually take this one off right now. But this is all that little wick over wick area that we're talking about. And it's right by this red, by the red fib line right here, which is right where the price is right now. You can see where the price came up, gave a little bit of wick. It didn't close above this red line. Let me see if I can draw that in here. The 2 minute, this is a 2 minute red. You have this 2 minute red line right there. That's the same. You see it's wicked up, couldn't hold it. Wicked up, couldn't hold it. Wicked up, couldn't hold it. Now, and like I said, this is just a institutional level that was predetermined. Now it's now got rejection. It never did even get up to the 23%. So if you look at this pullback right in here, this was the origin of this last drop. If I just draw a fib line from here, here's the origin, here's the bottom of it. And pull back right up into the, here's the 38% line, which is right at the red line. Still not ready to give it up yet. Here's my 50%.
I think it wants to go a little bit higher, but I think overall the momentum is still pushing down.
Actually, from this range, the original range I had, I think, was all the way up here. That's why the box is different.
I'm looking at it actually on a 4 hour, and it's pretty amazing that this it's coming into, it's still a downtrend overall. I just see it pulling down, at least till we get to that 7,000 line, and that's on a high time frame too.
So right now, these things they're getting pretty close to flipping back over again. Again, you can see we have a 6 and 0, a 7 and 0. So we still have on their 15-minute and our 5-minute chart, we still have the strength of the US dollar to the downside. Again, this is a retracement. This is a relatively strong retracement. These things flipped over, but once they flip over back and the dollar becomes strong again, that's when you can be fairly safe to be able to take this trade to the downside. Because you have the higher time, the higher time frame strength is to your favor, and you want to see these pullbacks. It gives you the opportunity to get in on these big down moves. Again, I'm waiting. Right now, I'm kind of looking to see for this green to cross back over the yellow, closing below the trend line. We may be retesting the trend line, but if we can get this candle to close below all this green and the yellow, close below, come back and retest, that would be the entry to go short. We probably actually move this thing up a little bit higher here. It's still working its way up to this 23%. That's usually where I like to see the strong pullback, 23 to 50, just right up in here. Like I said, your stop range would be if it just, even if you take it at the bottom of this box, your stop range is still only going to be 7 pips. And then your target, the deeper it goes back, the more you have for a target potential as it goes to the next green line, back to our bottom zone right here. It's our mid zone. And I can come over here and see it. So I'm looking at right now into a sell stop at around the 70.38. I can always go back now over to my MT4 platform with New Zealand USD on here. New Zealand USD. Where is it here? That's not the one I want.
The same pictures on the Aussie. It's pulling back the same way. It's just this price structure for the fib numbers are different. It's the same identical look.
See, and you'll see I can bring it up, and I can do what I said the buy stop was going to be. Where are we at here? My buy stop is going to be right now. I'm looking at 70.38. It's coming up into that zone for me. There's my 23. That's what I was looking for. I wanted to see it hit that.
Mm-hmm.
Move it up a little bit higher here. There's a strong move up into the zone. Now, a lot of times you get the strong move up to the zone. That's what they're doing. They're saying, okay, there's a strong move. Everybody's jumping in right now, except us. We're going to wait because we're going to see. We know what's going to happen is they get a strong move up. Gets everybody thinking, oh, it's breaking out of the zone. They jump in and get it. What they do, they come back to take, and everybody's got their stop down here. Come back down, drive it down, take the stops, come back up, and move in the other direction.
It would not surprise me to see a 70, 70, 50, 70, 45. What's your RCS tool showing on the 15-minute again, though? Because we just did the 7:30 times.
We are getting a flip on the 5-minute. The 15 is still showing solid.
Still solid.
Let's see if we get a little bit of wick. Here's the mid zone right up in here. This is the mid zone of this range that we were talking about. So right now, it's still in the lower half, lower third. Now, if I put a fib line on there, let's see if I can find my 2-minute fib line. Yeah. Here's my 2-minute. Let's see where's the other one here. These other probably covered up with. I know the 7 pips above this dotted line here is the, I just turned it off. Here's my 2-minute. And 7 pips above it should be the other one. You're right at the, you know, the fifth, you'll find out that the 15-minute lines, if it's a 15-minute red line, you have a 2-minute and a 5-minute all at that same spot, and that's where that is. So right now this thing's only going up 4 pips into that area.
It looks huge.
But it looks really big, but it's not. It's not. You only have looking at 7 pips between here and here. It's only 7 pips.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
We have a nice little trend line. It has strong move up. Here's a little wick. Here's a little doji right in there. We're starting to get, these things are starting to consolidate again. They consolidate right here, went up higher. I want to see it break through this trend line, come back down, break through this red dash line.
Yeah.
And then I should be in the trade with a sell stop of at 70.38.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
We'll come over here, do a sell stop. Let's go to the 1-minute chart. 70.38. So I'm gonna come over here with a right click, trade, sell stop. 70.38. Modify.
Yeah.
70.
Huh?
38.
My bet is they're all the same. You may have orientation, probably the same thing with you. They're probably doing the same thing as you. They're probably doing the same thing as you're doing.
38, modify it, and I guess I can't modify it once I do that. I'm in the trade. Put my stop and target in.
It's only 7:33, by the way.
Here's my stop.
Yeah, you're there.
170 for the target.
It'll start doing it. All right, love you. Bye-bye.
You see my stop is way up here. Here's my target. And so we can do the same thing over here on the MT4. Basically, prices are going to be pretty much the same. Here's my trend line. We had the breaks coming back up to retest the trend line.
And my zone, my supply zone has been fully penetrated, so it's gone now. So it could very well go up. But overall, still looks like it wants to go down.
Here's our cross on our moving averages. We've got the green starting to cross over the yellow. And so once it can break through this little zone, it would be in our target and actually probably have some room to the more room to the downside. If not, if it starts going back and starts taking out this high or this little zone right up here, we'll get out of it before we get to our 15 pip stop.
So Al, do you normally do 1 minute? That's where you do all your trades?
Pretty much. I said I'm only going for 7 pips.
Because the picture is a little bit different on the 5 minute for sure, but you're used to it. You're used to 1 minute. I'm not.
Now, one thing I don't particularly care for is the fact that this pivot low didn't come back down and take out this area. But we are getting a little bit aggressive with the fact we took it on the high side of this on the pullback as opposed to waiting for it to come back down to retest. Now, if it breaks through this area right here, we may want to pull this trade because we don't want to take a full stop out. We're just trying to keep it out of harm's way. But right now we have this is a we had a little bit of a wedge going on here. Here's where the drop, there was base, drop, a base, drop, a base. So these little wicks right here are going to be playing a role in this whole thing. This was the last place where the sellers came in to take control. If they lose control here, that means the buyers are starting to take control, and we may look at seeing a little bit higher. But right now, this would be my if it breaks through here, I'll probably pull the trade and then wait for a better entry. But right now, if my calculations are correct, this is going to be the high. It's going to come back down, take this out, because as we were saying earlier, we have the RCS tool right now on our 1 minute. You see how it's flipped right now? Here's the dollar is now strong by 7. Here's the strong. That was the retracement. Remember, the yellow was above here on the 1 minute. It says, okay, this is in our retracement mode. Now they flipped over. Now you could probably going to see on all time frames. There's 7, you got 6 and a 0, a 7 and a 0, and we have the momentum out into our wind to our back, coming down into our target zone.
I still think you're going to have on your arrow, you're showing a green zone. I still think you're going to have a little bit of a resistance at that 70-30 line. That 70-30 line is a fib number as well. Right where your arrow.
Right here, this one is the screen
is
line.
That where is that where your arrow? That's not your arrow chart, but that's generally where your arrow line is.
Yeah, well, this is where the fib line is, our green fib line right here on a 2 minute. I think that's a 2 minute. Yeah, that's a 2 minute green line.
When I'm looking back at the 70-30 is actually the 76% of the 15-minute fib. So that's all coordinated the same. But if you look at your arrow, for those who are using arrow, your green demand zone sitting right at 70-30, your bounce area.
Yeah, that's this little bounce area.
I'm expecting it could very well still bounce. Yeah. It very well could still bounce a little bit, but I still think the momentum's downward.
We have a strong momentum, which makes me think that this zone is not going to hold. And this is only a little 1 minute zone.
Yeah, and you got an arrow down, just an alert right now going down into that demand. So it looks like the momentum is down. There's no bounce up for sure. There's no bounce arrow up yet.
Then we can go to a 5 minute chart and see if we can scrunch this up here a little bit.
Oh, he's using the word scrunch it up.
Yeah. See, right now you can see my target is actually in this green. It's in a 5 minute zone.
Mm-hmm.
But I said by the time it comes down into that, I should be out of this trade. Now, if it can break, if it can break through this, you go to the higher time frame.
And you got some room to run.
And you've got some. See, right now there's that little green zone right here. If it can break through that, it's got room to run all the way down to this level right here, which is the 70. And you can maybe play this. You can just think if you want to go for the bigger move, 70.04 would be the target area of this downline. Here's a nice little drop. It's basing right in here. This is where the pullback was. So we have a drop, a base, and another drop to retest this area. And then this area right here is going to be a area for it to come back to retest once it breaks through there. And so it may be worth hanging on to this trade. You see, all the moving averages are in a nice little direction here.
Yeah, I'm trailing. My stop is only 4 pips at this point. So if I can close below where it is now, if it just closes there, then I'll move my stop down a little bit further, and I'll almost a break-even trade at this point, and it is what it is at that point. Love break-even trades.
But all the momentum, you can see how the moving averages are starting to spread a little bit here. On a 5 minute chart, you can see here is a little pullback consolidation. Didn't cross over the yellow. Here is our little zone that we drew for where the last wicks were that came back up and tested it.
Not the fastest of trades, but a good trade nonetheless.
No, it's not. But you can see it's working out. It's working to. And so I would expect this to be a little bit of a bounce right off of this green zone. This is a green 2 minute fib line. I can turn my fibs on and off, and you can see there's my fib line. I'm going to mark it with a 2 minute fib. 2 minute green. There's that one. And then the next line down below is going to be, let's see, it's probably it's probably behind one of these. It's probably right behind here. So this is probably going to be 7 pips from 31 to 24. Yeah, there's a line right here. This would be the blue line.
And that would be your 61% fib retracement on a 15 at 70.21.
So you can see how all these are, they're speaking the same language. They're getting the same picture with different languages, basically. Here's where the first pivot, this is where the origin of this little bounce came from.
I'd love to see a close below that, though.
Yeah. Let's see if where I was at with the, where am I at here?
We need to hear a baby crying. That's what we need for that confirmation.
Yeah, the baby came home last night.
We need to hear some crying. That tells us to sell.
Let's see, we're still having lots of nice little momentum. Here's a nice little hook. I like that. And this should hit the target pretty easily.
This is the candle I need to close below. That's the one I want to see close. Got 1 minute.
And so now if you want to go for more than just the 7 pips, you can just just follow the trend, follow the moving averages, move your stop down. I would keep it above this blue one because that's, you see it had a little bit of a wick above the yellow, but I keep my stop above the blue, somewhere between the blue. This is the arrow moving average, and this is the 62 exponential moving average. I would keep the stop somewhere around there and just let it track it down until you get to your targets.
And a little bit of lower close. That's a good sign.
And so now I could be looking at these little fib lines right now for target zones. Here's the next one. Comes back down. If it hits that, we make it if it gets a pass, if it passes, closes, comes back and checks it, you can maybe take it on another pullback, you can maybe take another position. You see how it broke the wedge, it broke the trend line, came back down, retested it. Now here's another strong move coming back down. And so at this point, you can probably almost redo the whole thing all over again. Your trades off. Here we are. We have our silver fib lines up here. There's our 7 pip lines. Here's our blue. Here's our red. Here's our green. These are 7 pips apart. That's 38. This is 31. You see how it all fits in place. If it breaks through the screen, here's the blue's the next range. And if you look from the blue to blue, you can see it's been hanging in somewhere between this blue range and the blue range pretty much all morning, ever since 8 o'clock this morning. So here was a strong move. Here's the origin of this whole move. Came back down and retested it and said this was, you can see where, here's our 2-minute blue line. If I take my fib from here to the bottom to where this came back down, came into the 23% realm, rejected it. Here's the pivot high. Now these are going to start getting tighter and tighter as we get down closer to the bottom of here. Here's our strong move down, coming back up. Here's the 23. There's the 38. Here's my 38 to 50 area. We did get the break of this pivot low on this last retracing. It did break this. Now this could possibly be a head fake where it came back down, but we did get some close. Now, did we get a close on the 5 minute? That's my next question. We did get a 5 minute close below this pivot that we first, this was the first pullback. Here's the first pullback. Here's a pivot low. We did get a close. No, just it didn't really close. It closed right at a little wick down, but it couldn't close below that. So now starting to retest this again. This thing could give us a little bit of a divergence. This is where it depends on how much emotional inventory you want to take on your trades. That's where a lot of times I just go for a higher lot size. I go for my 5 to 7 pips and I'm out of the trade. And I say, there's my 1% for the day, and I move on. Right now, everything still looks good, even on the 5 minutes, still looks good. RCS we're still showing strength of the dollar, still showing, we still have our 3-point spread here on the 5 minute. This could just be a little bit of a, trying to figure out what you're going to do. See if they can shake some people out of it.
But it's reacting. It's reacting exactly where we said it would react.
Yeah. Here's our green line. It reacted about 2 pips above that green line, which is about your spread. Here's the spread of 1.6. And we got between here and top, that's 1.4. That's just right about this. You have a spread difference. This is where this thing came down. That's the difference in the spread right there. Right now it's into the 23 to 50%. If it goes up to 61%, I'm okay with that still, especially if you just get a wick up and come back down. That just means it's going to be a little bit harder. The higher it goes up into this zone, the lower it's going to go down into the overshoot, which would be if it goes up into the 50, my target would be down in this area. It would be the 38 to the 50 zone would be the target zone. They're wicked up into the 50. I'm going to see where my stop is. About 8 more minutes. We're almost done with this thing. My stop is up here at the 70.48. So my stop is all the way up here. Here's my blue line. I've got 3 pips above my blue line. This is my blue 1 minute. And my stop is up above that. You can see I've got lots of room between my stop. Instead, if it starts breaking out up top of this pivot, I might as well be out of it because might as well save yourself a few pips. Because right now, if it starts breaking through and starts trending up higher, then our picture's off and we need to reassess. Any questions, comments, any confusion that we can clear up? We're just showing things on different platforms so that you can see where we're going to be going with this a little bit more. We're going to spend a little bit more time using this platform. Just it's easier to draw. And we're just trying to explain our method of price action analysis and how we determine what to buy, what to sell, what to stay away from.
Did we have any alerts come through at any time? I mean, this was strictly momentum today.
Yeah.
Do we have anything that came through?
Let me see. Let me look and see what
By
we
chance.
have. Anything here? A lot of 1 minutes on here. The 1 minute. There's a 15-minute something. Where was that? British
Pound Swiss?
US CAD. Let's see where the US CAD is on our. Let's see where the US CAD is.
There's a EuroCAD.
EuroCAD?
EuroCAD, yeah. That came in at 1:45.
EuroCAD. I'll take it on a 15-minute.
That's about, what, 10 minutes ago, Eva?
Yeah, yeah.
You can see it's coming right up into a red zone. There was a, no, it was, this is not a back trade, but here's the arrow. You see here's the arrow, and we're looking at 3 pips before it gets up into the red zone. So right now, this should be the range I'd be looking at, see if this is enough of a range from this pivot high to this pivot low. That's 43 pips. It's a little bit tight, what I would like.
US CAD looks really good for possible retracement opportunity, but it does not look good for immediate entry.
I don't like this one, so I'm going to pull that one off. US CAD.
Mm-hmm. Strong move up.
CAD 15-minute. There he is. See what our range is. This is 15 minutes. It's all the way up in the red zone. Here's the bottom. And we do have a pretty good little range on this. Let me see what the range on that is. Looks like that's 60 pips. So that's a nice little range. But I'd like to see where this red zone or the origin of that red zone. Let's see if I can find where that is. And that's right over here. So right now it's coming up and retesting this range right from here to here. It is making a little bit. So I would be drawing my fib from this bottom to this area. You can see this height right here is the same as where this thing stopped right now. It's in this red zone. So we're looking at, we are in the upper 23% of this area.
On the 15-minute chart, you're approaching the blue line of a 23.45 as well. So it's all correlated.
Yeah, so there you go. There's that zone. We're up in zone. We have the red zone. I don't want to be taken along into this area. And let's see what our tool says about the RCS tool.
Look at your 38 line, your percentage 38. See how you can draw a horizontal line across there and see that that is the mean. That's where I like to see us potentially get in, which would be about 23.15-ish.
See, this is where our three zones are. Here's the 38, 50, 61. We draw these in here. What we're looking for is this area. It's up in the upper 25%. I want to see it come back down, pull out the 25%, retrace up, and then use this for a target to the downside, which would be contra trend. And then you can looking for that as a pullback to maybe go to the upside if the trend to the upside is still strong. That would be a contra trend move the way I'm seeing it right now. So you can see where my zones are. I have lots of green, 1, 2, 3, 4 green zones, 2, 3 red zones. And it is consolidated. You can see where this arrow moving average is going flat right now. And it's ranging right in beside this red zone and this green zone here. So this is the one you want to kind of stay away from right now until it gets to decide which way it's going to go. And like I said, on Monday mornings, you'll see a lot of that type of thing going on.
What's the RCS on this particular US and CAD? Where do they stand at?
Oh, let's see. The RCS tool would be, RCS is US and CAD. The CAD is weak. The US is strong here. CAD is weak. We have a 3-point spread. Strength to the US, strength to the upside. It is strong to the upside right now, but although this is the pullback right now, the CAD's now stronger than the US on the 5-minute. It is starting to flip over a little bit here. This is the pullback right in this area. Everything else seems to be still holding its own. The 15-minute is showing a little bit of a, we still have our 3-point spread here on our 15. We have a 4-point spread. So this is still going to the strength of the dollar to the upside, and we're in a little bit of a pullback in the process. And we have about 2 more minutes. Let's take a look at our New Zealand USD, see how that one's faring out here. Our stop's still out of harm's way. We have consolidation going on. Go to our 1-minute chart. So we are there, and it's spread this thing out a little bit. Did it ever break through that one zone? We don't know. But it did form a red zone above us. That's a good thing. It never really did break through our, so right now it's sort of somewhat range bound in here. My target's still down below. Stop is still way above. We just have to be patient, see which way. Now, if it starts breaking, it did form a red zone here from the green zone. So right now it's consolidating. And we're just going to have to wait and see what happens with it. Is the momentum going to stay, or is it going to come down, break to the downside? We have another little wedge right in here. Again, it's a lot of consolidation on our moving averages right in this little area right in here. So we're going to go to our trading view chart.
Man, time flies.
Yeah, it does.
I took an aggressive entry on the US CAD when it dropped below. So we'll see what happens.
You can see that this thing came up into the upper 25% of this little down move here. And just formed another little trend line from here.
It's a very shallow channel is what it is.
It says very shallow channel. Yeah, we're only talking between here and here. We're only looking at 9 pips.
Yeah.
As it's been consolidating pretty tight. But so far, it's still looking, and it's still 9 o'clock. You might start seeing a little bit more movement when the U.S. market opens up, too. Right now, I'm still staying in this trade, and we're going to wait and see what happens, see if it gets my target. You go to the higher time frame, if looking at our 5-minute chart and looking at our 15-minute chart, everything is still moving in the right direction.
It's a good 5-minute candle.
See how the 5-period moving average did not cross. You had the wick up, came back down, and we'll see if it's going to come down. Here's my target all the way down here. It's all the way down there. It's only a few pips away. Again, the strength of the dollar back again on the 5-minute. It's got forward nice. Again, you don't want to trade against the when you have a three or more point spread on this thing, on the 15 or the 30 or the 5 or 15-minute time frame. You don't want to be trading against that. And when you see it on the 1-minute, and now we have a nice little spread on the 1-minute. When we had the other one was the pullback. When these things flipped, that was the pullback. These things were still staying with a nice little spread. That just tells you that it was just in a pullback mode. Six-point spread now. Here's the middle zone right now of this down move. This is This is where you start micromanaging things a little bit here. Here's the middle zone. Came out of the middle zone. It did close. I like to see a 5-minute close on that, make me feel better. And we have, right now, we have another 2 minutes to go before this candle is going to close. You can see, this is another thing on TradingView where it has this little clock here, lets you know when, whatever time frame you're on, it tells you how much time you have before the candle closes right in there. It says 1:42 seconds.
I'd take a close right there. That would be a nice close with small wick at the bottom. These minutes can get real long, though.
And with that, I think we'll probably start thinking about wrapping up, and everybody can start watching for the U.S. market open. Any other last-minute questions, comments, concerns? We get a show of hands. Is this helping, or is this more confusing to us today? I'd like to get a feedback on this. We did throw some new things out at you today just to let you know that it's here, and just see if this is going to be a benefit or if it's going to be more confusion factor. And I think my earbuds just went dead.
You have one hand up, so I'm not sure if that means it's helping or if it's confusing.
I'm thinking, I'm going to take it that it's helping.
Okay.
Okay, can everybody hear me now?
We could hear you before.
Okay, you could hear me before, I just couldn't hear you. Okay, so the mic works, but the earbuds stop. Okay. So how are we doing? Does anybody have any questions, comments?
I think we're good.
Good.
Yeah, I think everybody's good. I'm ready for tomorrow morning. I made my 2 trades for the day, all the Aussie US and the Kiwi US, and I'm good.
I'm still waiting to get my get my target on the Kiwi US, but I feel pretty comfortable. I feel pretty comfortable that this one's going to work out. But if not, it's we missed our opportunity. I said Monday mornings are kind of a iffy type of trading environment. But we take what we can get. We do what we can. We plan the trade. We trade the plan. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, we move on. The trade plan works most of the time.
Yep, it does.
Speaking of that, Brian, did you get my trade plan that I showed?
I did. I'll be looking at it later today. I got a little class work I got to do today. Check your phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So on that note, we're going to go and wrap this thing up today. Again, we thank everybody for coming in. Share your thoughts, and we will see everybody tomorrow.
All right. Take care, guys.
Stay safe. Stay green. We'll talk to you later. All right.
Thanks, everyone. Talk to you later.
Thanks, Eva.